Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're doing something a little bit different. So I thought instead of doing a big sort of review of all my equipment that I have, I decided what I'm going to do is pick out my main gear that I use basically. So today what I'm going to show you is my Hydros Pro BCD. Now the thing is with these is there's no lie and there's no joke that they are expensive. I'd say for an average to buy BCD, you're probably looking at like 250 to 350. I'd say that would be like an average price range. And considering these are 500, that's a lot of money. So today, hopefully this video will help you to decide whether or not you think they're worth it. Personally, I'm not going to tell you whether I think it's worth the money or not. I'm going to let you do that decision. Obviously, because this is, I'm not getting paid or anything to do this, this is going to be like a no bullshit review. It's going to be an honest review. I'm going to run through everything on the BCD, what I like about it, what I don't, what I think is good, and basically trying to help you guys to make the decision on whether you think it's worth it or not. So yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll just dive straight into it. We'll start off from the back. I know this isn't exactly the best review sort of settings, and I don't really have like a hanger or anything to hang it up on. So first of all, I've been using this BCD for about 4 or 5 months now, which is that long enough time to be doing a review? I think it is. I've done a lot of dives with it, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through and tell you everything about it, what it does, what's good about it, all the weird little details that a lot of people miss out. What I'm also going to do is I've got my own way of customizing it, if you will. So I thought what I'll also do is I'll run through everything that I do to make it more personalized. I've tried to find on YouTube like videos of people who have customized it, but there's not really much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you everything that I've done to it, which will help you make a decision on whether you think it's worth forking out that much money for the BCD. So without further ado, this is the back. As we look at the back of this BCD, I guess what we'll do is we'll start from center section. So it's a solid plate which mounts to the tank. What I do quite like is how, as you see there and here, and then these, it's got these they're almost like a rubber foam kind of like grip, if you will, which so when you actually sit it onto the tank, and then you put, what I find easiest with these is put that strap over first and it sits quite nice, is that this actually grips onto your tank. I don't really have a tank at my house to show you, sadly, but I'll try and explain it as best as I can. So as you sit it on the tank, these soft like rubber sort of foam parts sit to the tank quite nicely, and then it makes it sort of easier to basically set up really. And then I imagine instead of having like a solid back piece to the tank, it makes it a bit more comfier as well. So it takes out the initial impact, I guess you could call it. So ScubaPro, they've got these straps on most of the BCDs. I'm going to try and show you how they work with one hand, as obviously my other hand's on the GoPro. It seems a bit weird because this is the first ScubaPro BCD that I've had, and as I was sort of looking at the strap, I was sort of like, well, how's that going to work? Because as soon as I pull that up, it flips over. But obviously, me being an idiot, as you sit on the tank and you put your straps over, that locks it in place, so it sort of relies on the tension from the whole strap itself, and then that literally, it's not going anywhere. And what is a lot easier with it as well is, say once you've got the size, say if you're diving like all week and you're using the same size tank, you don't need to adjust it at all, so you'd literally just put it through, clamp it in, and then it's not going anywhere. You do need to watch out for your fingers though, because they do, as soon as you sort of push the clamps around, it snaps in, so if you go and catch your fingers, that's going to hurt. Okay, so moving on, get these straps out of the way. So it has these pockets at the back here, so you can add weights into. To be honest, they're not really that big, but normally, say if you had like a 1 kilo sort of pocket weight each side, then yeah, they'll be good size. But I think if you're going to sort of go quite heavy, you can't really add much more. So depending on whatever you find comfiest and what gives you the best trim, then you'll sort of have to decide whether these pockets are big enough. I mean, it's kind of hard to sort of show how big they are, but yeah, I'll just sort of try and show you the best that I can. Okay, so at the bottom, really there's literally nothing, it's just a big bladder. And then at the top here you have your dump. And then obviously that's for your main valve to fill up. So I think that's it with the back. Main thing that I do really like as an overview for the back is how it's got these soft pads, so when you're mounting the BTD it makes it quite easy. And then there's not really much you can really customise obviously to the back. Say if you want to put weights in, then there's pockets. And that's about it really, it's fairly sort of simple. So in all fairness, when you look at the front of this BCD, it does actually look like there's quite a lot going on, but really there's not. So if I make it sort of a bit simple for you, is we'll fold the straps back, then you can see, I know this isn't the best camera skills because I'm having to use one hand recording, then the other sort of working the BCD, but as you open it like that, that gives you a better view of the actual back plate. So it's like a, it almost looks like, well it feels like a plastic with sort of rubber layer on it. So they call it a 3D gel system, which I think is a posh word for rubber with plastic, to be honest. It's actually solid, so you can hear that. There's no sort of flex in it, there's only sort of flex at the top. Other than that, it's solid and there's rubber at the bottom there. What I do quite like is how, because where the weights are, it's got this whole sort of rubber flap here, which sort of is curved. So if you see that, so as you sort of strap the BCD around you, it fits onto you really nicely. So that's another benefit that I quite like. And then dump at the bottom there. I'm trying to sort of do like the most honest review I can and just trying to sort of go into detail. Because I know that a lot of people I've found who are doing YouTube reviews, they're trying to sell the BCD, whereas I'm not trying to sell it, I'm trying to help you make a decision on whether you want to get one or not. So, what I quite like about these straps, let me buckle it up. Excuse the camera work again. So what I do like about these straps is because they're solid. If you have a look in there, they're solid and they're strapped to the actual bladder, so they can't really go anywhere. So as we sit it up, you'll see that. See how it sits out slightly? So when you go to put it on, a lot of other BCDs that have the fabric sort of shoulder straps, as you try to put them on, you get all tangled up, whereas these, because they're like a solid rubber with the strap running through the middle, they're really easy to get on and off, so they don't end up getting tangled and twisted. The buckles that they've got, I don't know whether these are like a new style of buckle that they've done on this, just on the Hydros, but they've got this like articulating sort of buckle, same with obviously both sides. And what I have noticed, and a lot of other people who have had this BCD have also noticed, is that these squeak a lot. So as you're sort of walking around the boat or you're going to go in for a shore dive, once you've got all your weights on and your tank and everything, you walk around and it's like constantly. So that's a bit of an annoying thing. I mean, whether you could put like some form of like Vaseline or something, obviously it would have to be like reef safe and ocean safe, but whether Vaseline will work or not, I really don't know. Obviously you can't go and spray WD-40 because that's not going to last, and it's obviously not going to be good for the sea. So yeah, that's one thing to consider. They are quite handy. I mean, I don't really know. I suppose it just makes it a little bit more comfortable. As it is like a solid rubber strap, that it gives it sort of a lot of movement, if you will. But yeah, so that's one thing to consider. So when you actually buy it, or if you decide to buy it, and you start walking around the boat, everyone's going to be hearing you, because as soon as you're walking around, it's like so yeah, moving on. I that's enough of my weird sounds for today. So what I first found was actually really good with this BCD is that when I first put it on, tested it, made sure that it fit quite nicely, I found that these straps, the chest straps, it would sit too high so that it was almost like near at the bottom of my neck, so it wasn't comfortable. So what you can do with these, I'm not going to go and do it now, I've done it, is these, say whatever colour you get, say if yours is black, these will obviously be black as well. What you can do, there is a really small like hole in there, if I can pick it up with the camera, and all you need to do is get like a little flat bladed screwdriver or a knife, and they pop up. I might add this little flashy LED, so I can show you that. This was only like £5, which is quite handy and obviously helps being seen when you're in the water at night. And then another thing that I also add, depending on whether I'm doing a night dive or not, is this elastic like retainer. What I find quite good about it is that it clips in like so, and then what I would normally do is I would either, because my octo's that side, I'll probably either go this side and clip it onto there, keeping it out the way of the BCD inflator, or I'd go onto sort of this D-ring here, and then for this all you'd have to do is then unclip it, and then that extends and you've got sort of a lot of room and it stops you losing your torches. So again, if you had a pocket on your BCD like I do dive with, but say if you were diving like some sort of normal BCD that does have pockets, what you could really do is just stick that in your pocket. So it's another thing that you need to have dangling off you, which isn't ideal. But it is a wing style BCD. Literally the whole bladder is all behind you, so as you inflate it, it sort of wraps around your back. So I mean, wing styles, I think they're great because when you're near the sea or in a pool or in a lake, you get really nice trim. Obviously, because when you're swimming along flat, the sort of your the bladder is directly on your back, so it just lifts you up and it feels really I suppose that's a terrible explanation, but obviously then once you come up, once you surface, because all the air is at your back, it pushes you forward. So that's another thing to consider. So if you're, how do I say, if you're not like unfit, but if you're quite, say like, if you're a bit elderly and you want to go on sort of a nice, more chilled out dive, it might not be the best BCD for you because, like I say, as you surface, it pushes you over. So you constantly have to be sort of pushing yourself back. So it's more effort, but then once you actually get down below the surface, there's less effort. So that's another thing to take into consideration. So yeah, that was really a honest explanation and review of it. To be honest, I think I've covered about everything. So all in all, it is great. Whether you think it's worth the money or not, I'll leave that down to you. And one of the main things I find is the biggest problem is that there's no pockets. So then you have to then spend more money to then get a pocket added. And considering that costs 25, 30 quid, it is a bit expensive for what you're getting. But then again, it just means that you have a pocket. Like I was saying, so obviously if you're diving with slates, or say you do a lot of night diving with torches and stuff, whether you have them dangling off you or whether you prefer to put them in a pocket, that's sort of an idea to have. But because it's not a very big pocket, you can't put a very big torch in it. So yeah, I think that really is an overview, sort of my honest opinion. But well, yeah, one of the main things that to be aware of is because it is expensive, you then need to spend even more money just to get a pocket, like I say, or to have sort of to add a loop just to put your octo on. So I mean, take what you will of this review. Whether you agree with what I'm saying or whether you don't, that's up to you. I'm not getting paid for it, I'm just being honest. So yeah, I think that's about it. It's the first sort of review I've done of any of my scuba gear. Sorry, but like I was saying, on Monday, so I've got about 4 days, I fly out to Thailand for 3 months. So my channel's going to have a hell of a lot of more underwater filming, if you will, and sort of like lifestyle traveling style vlogs. I mean, I don't really want to do too many vlogs because I'm not a travel vlogger. I just like showing you sort of under the sea and diving equipment really and diving videos. I have done sort of quite a few other videos on my channel for diving, so if you want to watch any of them, then feel free to. If you enjoyed this review, please let me know. I can go through all my other gear at another point if you want to see what else I dive with. And if you want any more sort of honest reviews, then let me know. So yeah, that is it for this time. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below what you think of the BCD and what you think of the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace!